No fun for the Next Gen crew at the Next Gen game. The Oilers dropped their first game of 2026, 5-2 at the hands of the Philadelphia Flyers. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola with you alongside Matt Kassian and Ben Thomson inside the EST Satellite Studios. Cass also inside the Satellite Studios with his daughter, who he took to the Next Gen game. Shout out to the kids. They did great work all around the arena. And unfortunately, the Oilers couldn't reward them with a victory. Hope you're doing well out there, staying warm. And of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. You can text us 780-218-9999. Hop into the nasty chat if you're over on YouTube, as the Oilers drop a 5-2 decision. Let's welcome in Ben Thomson and Matt Kassian. Good afternoon, boys. I mean, it's early evening, I suppose. And the Oilers with a bit of a slow start in this one. And Cass, you were there with your daughter, like I was mentioning. And really, that first period, a little rough. Second period looked like they created a little bit of momentum, got back into it, but they could only close the gap to 3-2 and eventually fall 5-2. What did you see tonight firsthand?
Yeah, well, that slow start, as you mentioned, was absolutely killer. I mean, it was sleepy. It was slow. We talked before the game about waking up for this one. Apparently, it was nap time, not lunchtime, for the first period for the Edmonton Oilers, because they struggled off the hop in that one and couldn't quite recover. There was a couple key moments in the second period where they were back in it. They had some opportunity, weren't able to pull the trigger, and it was just too much to close in the end.
Benny Thomson, your impressions of that game tonight?
I mean, sloppy is the first word that comes to mind. To me, there's the lack of crisp tape-to-tape passes was at a low today. I thought the Darnell Nurse fight helped the group a little bit. I thought it got them a little bit of momentum, and I mean, McDavid scored just a couple of minutes after. But man, to me, this type of loss, if you played against the Colorado Avalanche or the Dallas Stars or the Florida Panthers this way, they would have gotten murdered tonight. But I think it was because of the Philadelphia Flyers. I understand they have a decent record, but they did not capitalize on some very egregious turnovers the Oilers had. There are multiple guys to me that just looked brutal today. I mean, it has been it was a rough game to watch today. I have not a whole lot of positives to take away from this one.
Okay, well, this is a theme, guys, that's popped up again because since the Christmas break, the Oilers, they lose 3-2 to Calgary in Calgary. They go and win in Winnipeg, a struggling Jets team. They lose to a struggling Bruins team 6-2 on New Year's Eve, and then they drop this one 5-2 today. It's been sloppy as the theme in these 4 games since they've come back. Now, I sprinkled this towards you, or kind of floated it towards you the other day, Cass, where I said, are we seeing something that is a trend, and is it concerning? And now that it's been extended another game, where are you at on all of this, Cass, with the sloppiness?
Yeah, they're certainly building habits with the sloppiness.
Bad ones.
I think that's it's an astute point, Benny, that you made about it, just the amount of turnovers and this slop. And I don't want to say it's totally top to bottom. I would say more from the defensive side of the puck where it was sloppy. There was a lot of soft rimmed pucks, one that ends up biting them. Started with a rim up to Trent Frederick at the blue line, who loses a battle at the blue line. And then it's back in. There was a shift, and it was in the first period that Regula had 2 brutal turnovers in the same shift, and they didn't get scored on. They just kind of survived, but then the puck was right back down their throats. And we've seen that start to creep into the game a little bit. So is it concerning? Yeah, it's concerning, because that's 4 games in a row. Even if we look at say, okay, hey, the Oilers had a lot more chances in the Boston game than they actually scored on. Mm-hmm. Even if that game's closer than 6-2, or even if the Oilers win like 7-6 or like, I don't know, 5-4 or something, they are giving up a lot right now. And it does all come down to a lot of the turnovers and some of the soft plays in their own end. And you cannot pin this game in any way, shape, or form on Calvin Pickard. Now, he would have probably really liked to have had that one, the goal that made it 4-2. A tough play through traffic. I'm sure he would have loved for that to hit him. Just a little bit unfortunate, but you can't pin this on the goaltending the last number of games. This is all on the play, and they've been too sloppy, guys. So it does seem that it's habit building right now, and they got to find some way to break that slump or break the habit, whatever you want to call it, because it's been too messy in their own end. Too many turnovers, too many thrown away pucks, not enough. You'll go back to that word intentionality that I love to use, but not enough intentionality with their zone exits.
That Sealer goal where Pickard's looking for it, it starts with a face-off loss, defensive zone start, and it was Savoy on the draw there. Pretty clean loss. I think that was Abels that he lost it to, but you could see Pickard just kind of like looking, trying to find it through a screen, and then boom, it's by him. So that's a tough one to kind of seal the deal. But the Oilers not getting a shot in the third period when they're down a goal for 13 and a half minutes. Intentionality, intensity, afternoon game, still like that. I know it's been a decent season for them, and they were first in the Pacific going into action today, but that's a bad sign. I don't like that, guys. That's just my take on it. When you don't have the ability to pour it on and to create some momentum after what I thought was a solid second period where you did generate some good stuff and you did manage to get back into the game, bad indicator. And I'm not too happy if I'm looking at it from an Oilers standpoint since the Christmas break, because it hasn't been particularly good hockey overall. And I've got a stat I'm going to throw up before we dive into some text here. Comes in from Brian Swain. Swinner's always got great stats that he digs up for us. He says, outside of McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Hyman, Roslovic, and Bouchard, the rest of the team has accounted for 1 goal in the last 6 games, 5 goals in the last 11 games. And that speaks to the lack of depth. And guys, we talked about it the other night. Like they tried to get the young guys in there, and we just talked about a goal that they had scored against them off a face-off. That's a red flag. Cass, I feel like you want to jump in on that.
Yeah, I do want to jump in because I was sitting with a couple of the other guys, a couple of old NHLers as well, retired guys. And so we were chatting about some of this, and especially towards the end of the game, discussing it. So there's 2 parts to it, and they both can be true at the same time. So there's a great saying I didn't come up with. It's called the saying is there's lots of truth that is in tension, right? So you can have 2 things that are in tension on opposite sides that can both be true at the same time. And I think this is one of those truths. So on one side, you have the bottom 6 needs to produce more, needs to score more. Yes, right. Absolutely. On the other side, which is also true, now they're opposing things, but it's also true, is that they also need some of the opportunity to do that. We talked before the game about the amount of minutes that we were hoping from that Savoy line, and we didn't get there. And some of the extra minutes were garbage time minutes at the end that they got from a time on ice. Now, if you look at Philadelphia's minutes, now they had 2 players, I believe. I don't have it up in front of me right now, but when we looked, they had 2 players that were over the 20-minute mark. Zegras, and I can't remember who the other was, one of his line mates.
I'll look it up.
Now for the
Dvorak,
yes, correct. Now for Edmonton, you have McDavid with over 23. You have Draisaitl's over 20. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is over 20. Which of the other forwards are over 20? Podkolzin's up there higher, but
I'm 21.
You basically had, and I think a couple of them crept over that 10-minute mark with the last shift of the game, but you essentially had your entire bottom 6 playing less than 10 minutes that whole game. And it's not like it was a penalty-filled game. Like you relied a lot on McDavid and Draisaitl, which we see all the time, hard to get away from. They're the best players in the world. But part of that, if we expect them to produce at a high rate, we also need to have them involved in the game. And we also need to be able to have them get into a rhythm out there where there was times when they were just sitting and didn't have that opportunity. You could argue it's a chicken and the egg thing. If they produce more, they'd get more minutes. Well, if they got more minutes, maybe they'd produce more. And that's why I say it's one of those things where the truth of that is a little bit in tension because it's a both at the same time. But yeah, we want more of that bottom six, but they also have to get some opportunity at times. And and that was tricky tonight because you look at the third period where, because they're behind, McDavid and Draisaitl are getting put out there way more often and playing more minutes in the third period 5-on-5, and you don't really have an opportunity to roll those guys into it and get everyone involved. I do think, and I know you haven't done the turning point yet, heading to the third, the Oilers, the key moment or two key moments in the game were in that second period when they had a couple chances to shoot in front of the net and they went for the extra pass.
Yes.
You can't blame that on the bottom six. You can't blame that on the bottom six. And that to me was a key moment in the game where it was either going to be, because they were pushing, it was going to be a pull even, and then you're going to have all the momentum heading into the third, where it seems to me that Tocchet heading into the third period did a pretty good job of settling his team down. Yeah. It naturally had that break for them to take a deep breath. They were able to reset, and Philly was much, much better in the third period than they were in the second.
Very sharp, and they shut it down really well. Again, Oilers didn't get their first shot. I think it was 13:38 into the third period. That is concerning indeed. 780-218-9999. Have your say as the Oilers fall 5-2. It's the GCL Diesel Oil Stream postgame show. Gazzola, Kassian, and Thomson with you. I'm going to get to this one via the nasty chat really quickly. It's from Quaddy. I just laughed when I saw it. Leon, -3 is playing like ass. And that was a comment that we saw in our EST group chat where Dusty suggested that I say something to get Draisaitl going and motivated again. I don't know if I can take that smoke from oil country in such short order from the last time. So the claws come out, and the claws they're very sharp, guys. So I have thick skin. Didn't hurt that bad. And I don't know if I'm ready for that smoke just yet. So I'm joking, but we're going to go to Derek from Spokane. And Derek says, okay, I'm being very serious. This is a serious question for Cass. What is missing from a group where you are down a goal and then two in the third period, and you don't get a shot for the first 13 and a half minutes into that period?
Yep. We were talking about this too. You're missing the dogs. You're missing that. We talked a little bit about a Corey Perry type of player, where they just, you have a combination of the smarts and you have a combination of the skill, but you also have a little bit of that edge.
Yep.
And I know we would point and talk about like a Trent Frederick, but they haven't quite got somebody to pull them into it in that regard. And you kind of see it with the Darnell Nurse fight, in that really emotionally that woke them up from a game standpoint. Like from that moment on, they were a lot sharper in that game. That's kind of what got them going. But not that you need someone to go out and get in a fight, but they needed someone to break through in a way, to simplify and to break through. So that's part of it. The other part, I would say, is that the execution from their defense was suspect. So Philly upped the pressure. They, in calming themselves down and heading to the third period, they increased the pressure on Edmonton's defense. They cleaned up their forecheck a little bit, and they positionally made it difficult for Edmonton to move the puck. Now, when that happens, you have to, as a defenseman, be able to be efficient with your movement. B, as a forward, you have to make yourself available. And what I saw at the start of the period was too many forwards that were going for trying to just stretch out the zone, which may be a coaching thing to a certain extent, to say, hey, we're going to try to force Philly to spread out so they can't contain us in a small area, even in our own zone. But it just wasn't working, or it wasn't executed well, one of the two. So what needs to happen is they actually need to execute. Like they didn't get any shots because they didn't come out of the zone with possession. They just didn't. It was like chip to the zone, or it was, battle for the puck for 35 seconds. And then when you get to the neutral zone, everyone's tired. And it happened a couple times where now you have a player by himself that's crossing the red line. His two line mates are changing, and now he's trying to dump it. Or he's trying to wrap it around the boards in hopes that the two guys that are coming on the ice are going to get it. So there's no maintaining possession in the offensive zone too. So it starts from a lack of execution in their own zone, and goes out from there. And then further to that, again, I would go like you didn't have anyone out there that was willing to, I shouldn't say willing, but wasn't able to force the issue to do something to kind of break the stalemate, as it were. So it just, took them too long to get going. They didn't deal with the pressure well.
They weren't that good off the rush either, defending. It didn't seem like. I thought that they struggled, really. I thought they gave up a lot of opportunities to the Flyers off the rush, and that's concerning. And then, Cass, you're talking about like trying to stretch out Philly, and maybe that was part of the strategy, but there was a time where they were on the power play in the second period, and I can't remember. I think McDavid tried to blow the zone, and they figured that I think there was a rim, and then the puck wound up in the middle of the ice somehow, and it went to a Flyer, and he walked in for the shot. I can't remember which one it was, but I got it. It was one of the defensemen, sloppy D zone coverage on power play. Philly gets a clean look, good save by Pickard. It was like a glove save, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, but it all came from McDavid already blowing the zone, and then nobody watching the middle. And I think maybe it was Hyman, if I'm recalling it correctly, peeled off to the other side of the wall, the far side, and the middle was soft and it was wide open, and they gave up a chance. And I thought some of that plagued them as well, just like some really bad decision-making too.
Yeah.
So anyway, just an observation there. All right, let's go to Dwayne out in Saskatoon. Thanks for the text, Dwayne. Says, why does this team constantly come out flat after any kind of break? Start of the season, Christmas break, All-Star break. It doesn't matter. It will be a struggle after the Olympic break, I'm guessing. This is an MO for this franchise and this group of Oilers in this decade, where whatever break it is, they have a hard time. Remember, they were on that 16-game winning streak. Then they had that break, and then they had to play Vegas, and they lost a 2-1 game. It was a really good game. Maybe Vegas added an empty netter, but it was essentially a 2-1 game, really tight, well played. Vegas was one of the best teams in the league that year. And the Oilers struggled coming out of the break after that. They did it again last year, and Dwayne makes a good point. I don't know. It seems to be a collective mindset. Maybe, and I've said this for years now, I think they have a lot of swagger, and it gets to their head. It infiltrates their head, and they need somebody to, or something, a situation to chop them down and bring them back to reality where they have to work for everything, on top of the fact that they have a tremendous amount of skill. But it just continues to happen. Any other theories on that, guys? I'm open to listening.
I don't think Connor thinks that way. Because
Benny, Connor is Connor.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And that's where I was going. I don't think their top leader thinks that way, but I think it's the rest of them. I mean, I look at Draisaitl has been brutal these past 4 games. Like since the Christmas break, I don't know if it's a swagger thing like you were mentioning, but something has been brutal. There was a time the Oilers were down. I think it was 4-2. And they go nuclear like they usually would, down 2. I think that weighed them down. The new McDavid Hyman line has been that was the only thing going for you tonight, and it's been the only thing going for you for the past couple of games. You're switching up that line. That's your only positive right now. I don't understand that. So it starts. You look at Connor. Yes, I think he plays like it's he knows he has to work for it. But I think even guys like Leon, I think guys on the back, I thought Darnell had a rough game tonight with just the swagger and just a boosh, like just guys that just think that like, okay, we're the big bad Oilers and we have all the skill in the world. I think there's something with that, Tom. They just don't have that. There was a quote from the texter earlier this year that really stuck with me. The Oilers think they can win, or it's always think they can win. They don't want to win. That's the difference. They think they will win, but they don't want to win. There's a difference there.
I get that, and I think that resonates. Cass, you want to touch on it a bit, or do you want?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's it. Like, I was the worst Monday morning hockey player. No, I don't want to say ever, but like I had a coach tell me that once, and he was joking, but he wasn't joking. He said, Cass, you're the worst Monday morning hockey player I've ever seen. Now, he was
Thanks, coach.
Hyperbolic. Yes, it was Craig Bonner as assistant coach my first year in junior.
Yeah.
Scouting for Dallas still, I think now.
Yep.
Is a pro scout for Dallas.
MLAC alum.
Yep, is an MLAC alum. Awesome guy from an awesome family. Wonderful people. Terry's still around here in Edmonton. Very well known in the hockey community. But the reason he said that is because we'd have a day off on Sunday, playing junior, and then I would just be horrendous in practice on Monday. For some players, time off means less touches, means you just don't execute as well. And that's why some players still like taking morning skates. I like doing morning skates, even though I didn't love getting all sweaty in the morning. And I liked it because then I could feel my edges, feel my hands, and I just feel a little bit more in rhythm. And it's the same thing for a lot of players where you give them too much time off and all of a sudden it becomes an issue. Is that they just, the reps aren't there, the touches aren't there. And it's not from a lack of desire. It's just, you're just better when you're consistently playing for some people. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a swagger thing or not. I think that's a fair theory to have. I certainly don't begrudge people for thinking that I wouldn't say I'm not going to tell you guys you're wrong because I don't know.
It's just a theory I've had for years.
Yeah. And it's a fair theory to have. I feel like it's happened so many times that I'm kind of wouldn't that have already, wouldn't they have figured that out already?
I would have hoped.
Wouldn't they have fixed that already?
But it continues to be an issue, and we're a week since the return, since Christmas.
Yeah,
and they're 1-3.
Yeah,
and really, any of those games you could have said they didn't deserve to win. I know they got the win against Winnipeg, but what were we saying? Calvin Pickard was brilliant. They hung on. Yeah, exactly. So it hasn't been inspiring hockey since the end of the Christmas break in oil country. All right, have your say. As the Oilers fall 5-2 to the Philadelphia Flyers, let's go to gray-haired teacher. By the way, 780-218-9999. Jump into the nasty chat if you're watching over on YouTube. We appreciate that very much on this Saturday afternoon. Gray-haired teacher says, I have a question for you guys. The lip service that the coaches and players give us each game, no one believes it. They have to know everyone is laughing at them. Trade, benching, coaching change. What truly needs to happen? Love the show. Happy Saturday. Thank you, gray-haired teacher. Trade, well, I'll say this. We got a bit of an update from Dave Pagnotta, and we saw Andrew Mangiapane healthy scratched again. I think they're trying to expedite this process. Dave was indicating that on Hello Hockey. It's just finding a dance partner. What would you respond to gray-haired teacher with, Cass?
Well, you're probably going to move him, but you're not getting much back or anything, really.
Yeah.
It's more just to give the player a fresh start and for the Oilers to maybe get his money off the books. That's what it's going to be. So you can't expect something big. I mean, you had your big trade a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right. You had your big trade a couple weeks ago. Is there potential for doing something? Of course there is. And I don't doubt that they're still looking to improve the defense at some point. Regula, I thought, struggled again mightily tonight. That's 4 or 5 games. Well, ever since the break, actually ever since 2 games after the trade, he's struggled. He was good, I think, for 2 games post trading Kulak, and he's had some challenges since then. So I think they're looking, but I don't know that anything is on the imminent horizon. You're not going to change the coaching staff, so don't think that that's going to happen.
We've seen comments like that, by the way.
But it's not going to happen. That's not realistic.
Right.
So there's no outside change that's imminent. Again, Mangiapane could get traded, but he wasn't even in the lineup tonight. He wasn't part of the problem tonight because he wasn't dressed. So, yeah, there's nothing on the horizon, guys. There's not.
Scoop says, seriously though, Tommy, when is Wallman back? I think Scoop's also wrote, is Wallman dead? He is not. I think it's still a couple more weeks away, and it's obvious he's always nicked up. So this is not good. He would definitely help the back end, but the last update we got, I think it was earlier this week, from Chris Knobloch, said he's still a couple of weeks away, which is not great news. And Regula, by the way, guys, he played his 47th career NHL game today. And I think there isn't a lot of patience for waiting for a guy to go through the peaks and valleys of a rookie season in the NHL. But as a defenseman playing in the second pairing, you're going to have some tough nights. And it's not like Darnell Nurse is an absolute rock back there either. So I think seeing Regula struggle a little bit is understandable, considering his body of work, missing all of last season, who he's paired up with in the competition that he's facing. So it's tough. And that's why I and Cass believe, and I think, Benny, you're on board with this idea too, they need to bolster the back end still.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. A couple more texts. Cass, you're okay? Everybody settled in over there in the kitchen?
Yeah, we're good. We're good for a little bit more. Yep.
There's Doritos and fruit snacks in there too. So I made sure everybody's comfortable today. Next gen game, and Cass has his daughter in tow as we roll along here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. EMG texting in. EMG says the team looked out of sync. Why bring up the two young guys while the team is still trying to get going? And then EMG adds, well, we're not in dire times, just sluggish out of the break. This team is always inconsistent in the first half of the season. EMG, we're into the second half officially after this game. This was game 42 on the schedule for Edmonton. And then I'm glad you brought up the young guys and the three young guys who were on a line together. They got burned on that fourth goal, like we were talking about. What did you guys make of the young trio of Savoy between Howard and Hudson today? Benny, you can go take the first crack at it.
One, I don't think they got enough of a rope to work with. Like, I mean, they're like, two of them played under 10. Hudson played under 10 minutes. Savoy just over 10, and then Howard with 11:52. But like Cass was saying, there was a little bit of garbage time, ice time there. Like, first of all, I'm not the biggest fan of Savoy as a center. He has played center pretty much his entire life. He played center when I played with him, but that was when we were like 7 years old. But he's played center all the way up until pro, basically, and they kind of thought with the size, wings probably best, and I still think that's the case. I think he can take draws and stuff, but to me, he's more of a winger. But overall, though, I mean, I thought they had some decent looks. I know they're out there for the fourth goal, and it's a point shot that, like, yeah, Hudson probably could have got there and blocked it, but it's I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to comment on them when they played such a low minute count. When we're talking on pregame, it's like, hey, let's hope for 12 plus minutes. Let's hope 12 plus, maybe even 14. We're talking like, all right, that's a third line that's playing, and they didn't get that. So, I mean, if this is the type of ice time that they're going to keep rolling out for them, I don't expect them to save their depth scoring issues. And then if that's the case, that's another hole you got to fix. We're talking about the defense that you got to bolster. Well, what about the depth scoring you got to fix as well? So, to me, I think if you roll the same line, I think next game, I think you give them another run. But give them more ice time. But that's so hard to ask for if you're down and they want to ride McDry. It's a tough situation they have themselves in right now. But ultimately, this is the case because their depth scoring has not been good enough.
Cass, is it as simple as sprinkling them around instead of having them clump together on one line? I
didn't mind them clump together on one line though.
Okay.
Like they get scored on off the draw, plays pinball. Right, like that goes off of like how many? 3 people, two or three changes. Like it wasn't. Those goals are going to happen on occasion. It wasn't like that was someone turned it over, a brutal turnover in the middle of the ice, or they got hemmed in for 3 minutes and gave up a goal, and no one could knock someone else off the puck. Like it was a play off a draw. But I thought there was a couple times, and it didn't overly materialize into anything. But I thought there was a couple times in the offensive zone where they did have the puck where you could start to see, okay, hold on a second here. These guys got some speed. And if they could get some clean possession, they could be effective. Now, they were in a situation where it was like they were stepping on the ice one at a time while someone from the other line was chipping it in. So it was all of a sudden they were, stepping on the ice and having to go forecheck to try to force a turnover instead of being on the ice and having possession.
Right.
And to me that, again, like there were some things offensively, positionally, where they were applying some pressure in on the forechecks where they forced a turnover too. And I was like, okay, I could, they weren't running people over, but I'm like, but they can buzz a little bit as a line. Now we haven't seen enough of it yet to know with certainty if that's what they're able to regularly bring. And when they do actually have the puck with possession, okay, now let's happen. So I want to see more of it. I agree with Benny. I don't think they had enough opportunity tonight to truly make a judgment on it.
Okay.
And that's why I said in the pregame show, like if Edmonton scored first and is up, they're probably going to play a lot and we might get a good look at them. But Edmonton did not. They were down a whole bunch of goals.
Yes.
And so it was a situation where we didn't get to see them. But I still think there could be something there.
Are they too small or can they get past that?
They can get past that. Like it's going to be a possession type of line. And what I mean by that is they can buzz. They're not going to run people over, but they can try to force turnovers with their speed. I do think it's going to be the type of line that they're going to be much better when they have possession. So when they're able to enter into the zone with possession, not trying to force turnovers off the forecheck, that's where they will excel much, much more. And we just didn't see enough of them in any kind of an opportunity where that was going to happen tonight. Because again, it was like, Podkolzin has a puck at the red line and the other two guys are going to change and he chips it in. And now all of a sudden, you're stepping on the ice in a forechecking situation where the other team has possession and you're basically playing defense in the offensive zone. We just didn't get enough time with them where it was like, hey, this is a clean look to truly see what this line has.
780-218-9999. We want to hear from you. Get into the nasty chat as well. And I want this next text to go to Hontorio Momes. Hontorio Momes says, boys, I don't know what's changed in the coaching, but this isn't happening all year where they only make 80 to 100-foot passes. No forwards try to score unless they're kissing the goalie. Do they know people score from taking shots? Yeah, they got a little bit cute a few times tonight. Nugent Hopkins missed a great opportunity in tight, and it wasn't for a lack of trying to shoot. It was just he missed the net. He went high and wide. I thought he actually had a couple instances. McDavid set him up on a really nice opportunity in the second period. This one says, Stan Bowman continues to show he's not the GM to bring the cup back to Edmonton. Awful offseason signings, awful trade for Jari. Only line going tonight was Connor Nugent. Hyman, 32 plays team based on team play. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I know a lot of people putting blame on Bowman and Jackson, and this team does have their fingerprints all over it, but they were first place in the division going into action tonight. Let's go to Liquid Beaver. Says, hey, boys, Happy New Year. I know that the players are professionals and there is a business side to the game. I feel like until the Mangiapane issue is resolved and to some point, Frederick, this team is going to struggle. When did they start playing poorly again? When the Mangiapane issue arose. Yeah, they've been sloppy since Mangiapane and the news broke that he wanted to go. I don't know if it's necessarily that, Cass. You can give us better insight into when a guy is unhappy, how much it can affect the team. I don't know how much this particular scenario would be affecting the group as a whole. And as for Ross or Frederick and that issue, quote unquote, being resolved, I think he's here to stay for a while. I don't think they're going to try to flip him. I don't think there's any appetite from anybody outside of Edmonton to try and pull him out of here. I think you're going to have to grind it out here. Yeah, with Frederick. And I know some people are hopeful that the Oilers could just get rid of him. I don't think that's going to be the case. If it does happen, I'd be surprised. Mangiapane, on the other hand, again, to reiterate on Hello Hockey, Dave Pagnotta saying that they're working on it. Stan Bowman's in control of this now. Mangiapane's camp had an opportunity to go and discuss with other teams. His agent was able to discuss with other teams. He was in healthy scratch today. But Cass, give us a peek behind the curtain. When a guy is disgruntled on a team and he wants out because it ain't working, how that gets handled by the rest of the group, because they're professionals, like Beaver mentioned.
It's a business. It depends on the guy. Mangiapane doesn't strike me as the type of player that's a divisive locker room type of guy. No, maybe he is. Maybe I'm wrong, but most guys understand the players want to be. This is a business. Mm-hmm. And yes, you want to win. It's also your job. It's also how you provide for your family. It's your career. Yep. Right. So you're interested in furthering your career. Yes, you're interested in winning. Yes, you're interested in winning a Stanley Cup and winning a Stanley Cup for the city, but it's still your career. And I think most guys respect that. Certainly players that have been around for a little while, that have seen players move, seen players have opportunities in some places and not in others. So, it's one thing if you're bringing it in, you're being cranky every single day and you're being grumpy every single day and you're pulling guys down with it. But if you're still out there generally trying to have a good attitude and generally working hard, that doesn't necessarily create issues. Now it's different than if we were looking at like an Evander Kane, right? That like where you have we'll call it a documented history of conflict with teammates, right? Like that's different. Now having those guys be all poo-poo pants all the time around the room, that's different because it's a confrontational with your teammates.
Great point.
Right? You're taking it out on your teammates versus teammates being sympathetic to a certain extent, going like, you know what, it's hard for him. It sucks. He wants to play, right? Like that's different than the internal conflict in a room. So it doesn't strike me as that being the reason, guys. I don't think that's why the team hasn't played well since the news broke. Like it's the team not playing well. It's not because of Mangiapane being all grumpy pants.
I'm reading a few texts in the nasty chat. They're making me chuckle. I appreciate them. I'll rattle a few of them off. Chester says nobody would care. He's only been with the Oilers for 4 months. Banksy says Bowman is on it. Wow, that really sets my mind at ease with a facepalm emoji. Banksy, thank you for the chuckle. And then the Kilted Zombie just says they suck. And then Buster 2014 says, who cares if they're first in the division? The division sucks. Yeah, it isn't as strong as the Central. There's half a season, or just under half a season to go. And yes, there's issues. This roster continues to evolve, and we've seen it the last few years. I'm still of the mind, you guys, that this team is not going to go to a Stanley Cup final this year. I mean, they could surprise and they could get better. There could be additions made and guys could wake up, whatever. It's still possible that they make a run, but it feels like it's headed towards an earlier spring. And then they can regroup for next year. Maybe, hopefully, if you're an Oilers fan, utilize the cap space properly and galvanize for a run or two and try to get that Stanley Cup. But it still bothers me, the lack of a winning streak. To me, good teams find ways to win. And you and I, Cass and Belzy, we've talked about it. It's like, well, if you win 2 out of every 3, that's a pretty damn good record. And I don't disagree with that. But, getting that swagger, getting on a heater, and knowing what it feels like to walk into any building and know you have a pretty damn good chance of winning, and then proving it with good play and that consistency. They haven't had that this year.
It's rough. I think a win streak could definitely help with that. I remember I went back and looked at the roster around this point last season and how different that was compared to the playoff roster that they had. Cause I remember that they bring in Klingberg and then they go and they get Frederick and then Wallman and then Jones kind of plays. And so it was a little bit different. I don't imagine, I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be a crazy amount of change with this team coming up. Like, it seems like Mangiapane's on his way out, but I really wonder how he evaluates this team. Like this, I think in his head, with the contract that Connor signed, he can't waste a year. To me, he can't go, oh, next year, this year.
I don't think he's thinking, this year is going to be a waste. This is just me saying,
100%.
Given the circumstance, naturally they don't become as success. They're not as successful this season.
Yes.
100%. And then they get a little bit of extra rest, and then they're refocused and refreshed for next year. And that's where they really springboard. I'm not saying it's Stan giving up a year, or Jeff Jackson saying, oh, we're not going to be that great this year. I don't think it's that.
I'm with you on that too, because I kind of think the same way. What I mean by that though is I think Stan is going, okay, Connor signed for 3 years. He's got 3 more years here. I need to do whatever it takes to put this team in the best position to win, which now if they get rid of Mangiapane and they terminate Tomaszek's contract, they have a little bit of cap room to work with. I think there's a good chance that he goes and spends over the next couple of days. I just don't know how much of a change it will be, but this team could look a little bit different before playoffs. But I'm with you. I think it's, no matter what they do, really, unless they do something that really shifts this team, it could be a year where it's an early out and they kind of regroup for next year.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, Cass, or you just want to look ahead here?
It's too early for me to say. I mean, it could be. It's tough to go to the Stanley Cup final 3 years in a row. Too early to tell because there's still too many potential changes that have to get made. So I don't know. I don't know yet. It depends. Depends on what they do.
Yeah. Potential changes.
The group still has the potential to do that.
Right. And you know what? I potential change is very important and I think instrumental. And then you know what else? What else? Growth too from the younger guys. That has to happen. They need to play. So there's that. All right. 780-218-9999. Jump into the nasty chat. Let's get Cass's look ahead to Tuesday night against the Nashville Predators. That'll wrap up this mini homestand. The team will be back in Winnipeg on Thursday. Come home for one against LA next Saturday. Back-to-back games, Chicago, Nashville on Monday, Tuesday. Come back home for one against the Islanders. Back on the road against Vancouver on the 17th. And then they rattle off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row at home between the 18th to the 31st. So a bit of a herky-jerky schedule to start January, but the team's been good in January over the last few years. So if my understanding is correct, having conversations in the press box tonight, they, I think, have tomorrow off. We're just waiting for confirmation. And then they'll get back to work, probably a full practice day on Monday, and then back at it again, Preds on Tuesday. Cass, how do you think they go about this?
Yeah. I mean, Stan Bowman's going to be looking at those Predators saying, I wonder if there's anyone available here. Maybe a little interested in trying to see if the Predators may be a trading partner. How do they go? I mean, you're going to have the day off, most likely. I know they haven't announced it. It's going to be a day off. You look at the schedule, it's going to be a day off.
Yeah.
So they have the day off. They'll be back at it. I mean, I know, and they tried to do, from a practice standpoint, tried to get some, we'll call it battle readiness from some of the drills that they were doing the other way. Try to get some of that intensity into the practice. I think you have to continue to run with that, but you have to try to force high execution. I mean, that's going to be key. And you have a Nashville team that has not been very good. Although they've been playing slightly better than they were at the start of the season, vastly underperforming what they hoped and where they hoped to be as a team for Nashville. Yes. And for Edmonton, you're kind of hit this lull again here, right? Like, so you have to find a way to pick up your intensity, to engage in the game early, and to not be chasing again. Like you have to. Like they can't keep chasing these games and trying to work their way back into it. It's not where this team is excelling right now. So I would like to see another high intensity practice on Monday, focused on execution and transition from defensive zone coverage into offense, breaking the puck out cleanly and well under pressure. And then guys, they got to execute. I mean, they want to win. They have to execute. You have to exit the zone cleanly. Again, I do think from a coaching standpoint, part of the game plan tonight seemed to be trying to stretch out the Philadelphia Flyers because of the aggression that Tocchet takes. I don't think you're going to have that same type of challenge necessarily with the Nashville Predators, but regardless of what the game plan is, they got to figure out how to execute this here cleanly.
Yep. Nashville will play in Calgary tonight. So if anybody wants to get a pre-scout on them before they come into town, you can do it watching the game at 8:00 on Hockey Night in Canada. Cass, did we survive? Did we survive the shift here? Is everybody good?
We did it. She's good. Yeah, she's I think over on the couch. She's snacked up, sugared up, and I think good. Unless she's sleeping, she might be sleeping. I don't know. We'll
the
see.
Blankets, or you got to lift the one side of the couch, and there's a bunch of blankets there. It's a comfy couch. Trust me. Okay, awesome, great work, Cass, and great to see you. What's for dinner tonight, by the way? What's Mandy?
I have no idea. Mandy's on it, so I'm not sure.
On it. Okay. Yeah. All right, Mandy, the kids are coming home. So good stuff, Cass.
See you guys.
All right, there's our game analyst, Matt Kassian, helping us break down the Oilers' 5-2 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. We're going to get to some more text, but let's go inside the Oilers locker room. Who are we going to hear from first, Benny?
Let's hear from Adam Henrique after today's game. So this is Adam Henrique from the locker room.
Saw the afternoon unfold for you guys.
Yeah, well, you get down and then felt like we were getting kind of just jamming ourselves up in the neutral zone, not able to get to that speed game like Heisey was talking about. So, certainly areas to be better.
How do you assess what's transpired since the break?
Well, I think there's been good stretches and bad stretches. We got to find a way to just be consistent in our best game, and being able to put that, on the ice for 60 minutes. So there's stretches where we're great, and then there's stretches where it goes the other way, and it's kind of been that little bit of a roller coaster.
There's a lot of points from Big David last 14 or 15 games. I know you'd love to score every game, but how far away do you think some of the bottom six guys are from chipping in here?
Well, we got to find a way. For me, it's been a long time finding the back of the net. We have to be able to find a way to be difference makers, and there's other areas in our roles where we have to be good and be smart and contribute. And it's not always on the score sheet, but at the end of the day, we got to find a way to get on there at times. That can be the difference, I think, in some nights. And it's we certainly talk about it a lot and try to find ways to improve there and offensively. And again, that is part of our role.
Adam was one of the problems tonight, the face-off circle. They were very good.
Yeah, they got some good centermen. I don't know if it was a problem, but the face-off is a roller coaster thing. Sometimes, there's a lot that goes into the face-off. So, I don't think it was a problem. I mean, you always want to win them, but it's a difficult area.
The inconsistency seems to be an issue all year. Like, you put together some good stretches, but halfway through the season, you still hadn't won 3 games in a row. Is that just how a season goes sometimes, or is that a concern?
Yeah, not a concern. It's, everybody's good. Everybody's really good. You want to be able to string, 3, 4, 5, have those big win streaks at times during the season. And, we haven't been able to find a way to get there yet, but confident in this group that we will.
Okay, so there's Adam Henrique. I guess that's good, Benny, that, inside the room, and he's one of those guys that's well-liked and everybody kind of talks to, and he can give you a good assessment of the vibe, and he's not a BS artist.
Yeah.
So I'll take him for his word that they probably feel good about themselves, and maybe that speaks to the swagger. Go do it.
Yeah.
Go do it now. Like, you haven't done it for 42 games. Mm-hmm. Okay. Put together a win streak. You haven't had a win streak all year. It's incredible. Maybe there's that fatigue factor. Maybe there's, the growth that has to occur, but the fact that you can't put together a winning streak is still, to me, a red flag. And for some, it's not as big of an issue, but I think it's valid. And that's just my take on it. So go do it. That's great that the vibe is good. And the mindset, in his opinion, is in the right place. But you got to back it up with results. And it hasn't happened.
To me, his words were pretty calming. I think, like you were saying, I think they have confidence in that room, and their plays turned around despite having a win streak. Before the break, the play had really turned around. Now it seems like these 4 games. I mean, I definitely hope it doesn't trend this way, but these 4 games are kind of reminding me of that first Eastern road trip the Oilers had to start this year. Do you remember that game against the Rangers where Stuart Skinner stole that game against the Rangers and we're sitting here just talking about the Oilers played so bad in New York, but they pulled one out. That to me kind of reminds me of the Winnipeg game. And then after that, they followed that up with some couple really bad losses. The Boston one and Philly one here. And I think it was the Islanders and New Jersey one, and then Detroit right after. It was. It's reminding me a little bit of that. Obviously, then it led to even more losses and more bad play later. So I don't think it necessarily will go down that road. But they need to shake out of this right now. They still can't be. They can't be turkey hungover. It's been out of your system by now.
Anymore.
Let's get the feet moving. Let's go here.
All right, 780-218-9999. EMG texting in says, guys getting younger can certainly feel like a bit of a setback. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to use it as an excuse, but it's a thing. Like, the young guys don't have the knowledge, the confidence, the experience, and the only way to get it is to go through it, and it's not always a smooth ride, and we've certainly seen that. I think Alec Regula is a great example of that. All right, let's go back inside the Oilers locker room and hear from Zach Hyman following Edmonton's 5-2 loss.
Your thoughts on kind of the night overall? It seemed like the push wasn't there for you guys when you needed it.
I mean, down 3-0, get back to 3-2, so there was some push there, but not enough.
What do you think has happened since the break? How would you sort of evaluate your guys' game overall and what you're struggling with?
I mean, lots of room for improvement, I think. Parts of it is okay. Parts of it just need more intensity, more urgency to our game. Nothing structurally, just got to work back on the back check, got to work in the O zone to get the puck back, got to work up the ice to forecheck. I just think that we've been a little bit tentative and just sitting back a little bit when we can pick up our urgency and get back to playing fast. That's what we're about. We're fast.
There's ebbs and flows to every season. You play better, you play maybe not as well. But this homestand's pretty opportunistic. There's a great opportunity for you guys, and you're not starting it very well. Is there some urgency to turn this thing back the way you want to go?
Yeah, there's urgency. It's a long season. It's an 82-game season. You want to play your best every game. You want to take advantage of every home stretch, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Having said that, it's time that we string a bunch of games together here, and it starts with competing and being fast. And when you're working up the ice and you're working back, you look fast. And when you look fast, you usually play better. So that's what we got to do. We're our best when we're a fast team.
All right, short and sweet there from Zach Hyman. Tentative. He described his team as they need to see more urgency, more intensity all over the ice, forecheck, back check, paycheck. But that's, I think most of the texts that we've seen come in today have highlighted that. There's certainly been frustration with the fans of the team and the viewers and listeners. He admitted it. They know. Get out of that tentative shell and get back on it. Play fast. We know that was an issue. They weren't playing fast hockey, sharp passes early in the season. It bit them in the butt. We're seeing it again. And then Benny, he points it out. He's saying it now. Mm-hmm. They need to string together some wins. So it's not just, the loudmouth broadcaster saying it over here. It's a guy on the team. So, I would give him way more clout than me, but what do I know? So anyway, it's good that he said it. And if they recognize it and absorb that message and take it to heart, then I think they'll be in a good place to work towards a potential winning streak. All right, Reid Wilkins is standing by. Let's get to the turning point of the game presented by Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy. Just before we bring in Riedrich, Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You've got a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today, www.advantagesportmed.ca, or call 780-460-9977. You got a nagging injury that you need looked at, rehabilitation on the body, maybe your back has been bothering you, go see the crew at Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy. I'm going to go to the third period in this one. The Oilers had momentum after the second period. They clawed to within one, and then all of a sudden, they lose a draw. It's Matt Savoy losing it. The rookies are out there. Maybe they want to get something going, maybe some confidence, have that spill over from what they're doing in the AHL, but they lose the draw. It was Abels. Rodrigo Abels wins it back to Nick Seeler. There's movement in front of Calvin Pickard, and Seeler just kind of throws it on net. Pickard's looking, bang. It's over the glove, and it's in the back of the net at 9:09, and basically put that one on ice. The Oilers wouldn't even get their next shot of the game or first of the period for another 4.5 minutes after that 4-2 marker. So that one pretty much sealed the deal for the Philadelphia Flyers. That is your Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game as we welcome in the one and only Reid Wilkins from his satellite studio. Hello, Riedrich. Very nice to see you on this Saturday afternoon.
Nice to see you, Tom and Ben. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's enough of you. We'll see you later. Just kidding. Reid's Reid brought to you by Ewell, your power play specialist. Ewell has the gear you need for the next electrical project with 3 Edmonton area locations. And you can order online anytime at ewell.ca. Ewell, your Edmonton-based partner in power and source for all things electrical. Okay, we heard Zach Hyman there. You were already in the room when Hyman spoke. You were down there. Great mic placement, as some people are noting in the nasty chat and via text. That's all you, baby. That's a veteran right there. He said it, like, they don't have a winning streak. We're into the second half of the season. He points out urgency and intensity, considered his team to be tentative. Very upfront and honest read, bit concerning. Why can't they get it back 4 games after coming out of the break?
Well, I mean, this was game 42?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, I think, Tom, this is the team. I mean, it's halfway through the year. So when they play well, they don't make mistakes, and then the big guys get goals, and maybe some of the guys on the wings of the big guys get goals, and the power play gets goals, because really they don't get any depth scoring even when they win. Let's be honest here. Okay. True. So a lot of it, I mean, we're at the point where McDavid is pretty much good for 2 points a game, if not more. I mean, this is one of the best runs of his career.
Yep.
Over, what are we at now, 15 or 16?
15 today.
15 today. Draisaitl hasn't played well the last 2 games, quite frankly. No. But, I mean, you know, he still does something usually. So why did they fall behind 3-0? Well, they couldn't pass. They couldn't defend. I mean, let's look at the first goal. It's a 2-on-2, and Nurse goes for a poke check before the puck is across the blue line. And then Roslovic doesn't stick with his guy. I was talking to somebody in the press box about it because I thought Nurse didn't need to do that poke check attempt. Mm-hmm. And the person I was talking to, whose opinion is someone I trust about hockey, said, well, Nurse was okay going for the poke check because Roslovic was the next guy back. And then Roslovic let his guy go. I would prefer Nurse is just like, hey, it's a 2-on-2. Like, I'll just play a 2-on-2. What are they going to do? Instead of turning it into an odd man rush in front. So this is a team that when they play poorly, they make foolish defensive decisions. They don't get the puck up the ice efficiently, and they don't get saves. I mean, I think that a texter wrote in something to you last game and put it very astutely about Connor Ingram and said Ingram wasn't the reason that they lost, but he didn't help either. Mm-hmm. And I would say in the first period tonight, Pickard wasn't the reason they were down 3-0, but he also didn't help. You know, like one of those you'd saved. Maybe the first one was tough because he was knifing it in front. You know, maybe one of the other 2 you'd stopped. So I think this is the team, Tom, and you said it. This looks like a team that, barring massive changes, could win a round, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Now,
I know technically they're without their number 1 goaltender because Jari is the number 1 goaltender.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, technically they're without a second pairing defenseman because that's who Wallman is, though he was very erratic when he was playing. So look, they just get absolutely nothing from lines 3 and 4. Virtually nothing. And I want to stress something here. I'm not just talking about goals. I'm talking about ice tilting shifts. The third and fourth lines do not forecheck. They do not hit. They do not defend overly well. They don't play with any physicality. They don't scare other teams. So, I mean, today... And I realize, you know, Knobloch is going to take some heat for this decision, and rightfully so. You know, Rashog pretty bluntly asked him about it. Why are you putting together a line with 2 AHL players and a rookie 1 year removed from the AHL? Why are you putting together that line? Well, the flip side of that is they would sooner have that line together than have Andrew Mangiapane in the lineup at all. You know, so. Yeah.
Great point.
And I heard some of the Bowman stuff you were talking about, and sure, I mean, two of his signings And whether you want to put him and Jackson together, whatever. Like, two of his most recent signings are the Frederick commitment contract and Mangiapane.
Yep.
So, you know, we can break down the whys and hows all we want, but this is an ongoing thing for this team. Like, you know, like I think you said, like, how do they get it together? Well, at some point they will get it together. Like, they're at some point they're going to win 3 in a row. They're probably going to win 7 out of 10 because McDavid is having that good of a season. Their power play is awesome.
Yes.
And they have proven they can play mistake-free hockey, or at least avoid the complete bungling mistakes that they made in the first period and parts of the third period tonight. So I think that's just who this team is. It is a weak division. They may very well have home ice. But quite frankly, like, I didn't look today. 2 days ago, in terms of points percentage, they were 16th overall.
Yes, you and I were talking about that.
This could be a year where they finish 13th or 14th overall, but actually have home ice in the first round because the division is so weak.
It is incredibly weak. The Calgary Flames have taken the lead on the Nashville Predators. It is Reed's Read, brought to you by Ewell. Reed's Read coming at us from his satellite studios. You could text us 780-218-9999. Jump into the nasty chat as well. You mentioned Draisaitl and his poor performances of late. Where is this coming from? I mean, he was having a pretty damn good year. It's not that he isn't right now, but he's kind of looked sluggish and slow and sloppy, and it ain't there with him. I think he's falling down a couple of times today. We're like, why are you on the ice right now?
Well, we've seen this from him before, to be fair. Like, he does have little mini slumps usually at some point in the season. Like, it's kind of weird. Maybe it's been 3 or 4 games here. I'm not too worried about Leon Draisaitl putting it together, quite frankly. Maybe he needs something or someone to get him a little angry too. Sometimes that helps. But I mean, I think he'll be fine. But yeah, he hasn't been too effective the last couple of games.
Okay, thoughts on the kids, just in general.
Well, what can you expect from them? I mean, you're hoping it was going to be a home run, but I mean, their ice time was okay. You know, it's not like they were 6 or 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't. I don't question the effort, but you know, and they had a couple of shifts where they sort of forechecked, but they can't really get the puck or keep it alive.
Yeah, they had the Flyers' fourth line hemmed them in for a shift in the second, where I was like, "Ugh, that's not a good look."
Yeah, I mean, like, Howard is obviously more of a prospect than Hudson, and he's younger. You can tell, at least I think, with Howard, there's a confidence to his game. Like, when he gets the puck, like, he looks like he thinks, "Okay, I'm going."
Yep.
But he just doesn't quite have the wherewithal or the experience yet to get there. I hope he does. I mean, someone I know, not the same person I referenced earlier, compared Isaac Howard to Linus Omark to me when they were quite critical of some of the things the Oilers had done. That wouldn't be a good player for him to turn out like. So yeah, I mean, they again, it was a bit of a mid-season desperation move to put that line together.
Okay,
I that's what I think. I think they thought, okay, we got to reward. At this point, you have to reward Hudson and Howard for being well over a point to game in the American Hockey League. So throw them together, see what they can do. But I mean, you have to be realistic about the expectations. But still, like, I know how they put it on the lineup sheet today. I still consider that the Oilers' third line.
Oh, so do I.
Thought that line was more of a threat to going into this game. Like, if you would have said which line is more likely to score, I would have said that line ahead of Henrique, Janmark, and Frederick.
100%. 100%. Benny, anything for Riedrich?
I agree 100% there, Reed. To me,
Is that a splash?
Yeah, nice splash of Coke. There's some left for you here, Reed. You put in your nice mug that Jay got you for Christmas. But no, I agree with you there, Reed. Like, the the young guys, to me, Ike Howard has more of a scoring touch than what any of those guys on the fourth line do, and he's not afraid to shoot it too. Like there was a rush today where he was 1-on-2, where like 99% of the Oilers just go and they'll go in the corner or they'll chip it in or whatever. He walks in, shoots it, gets it right back, shoots it again. Like he doesn't care.
Good.
He'll rip it, and I think the Oilers need more of a scoring or shooting mindset. And like we were saying earlier, they're passive opportunities. Guys like him don't do that usually.
Yep. Okay, so we thought and anticipated that the Oilers might take tomorrow off. That is not the case. We got word from them.
Sorry, yeah, I should have texted you.
Yeah, they're practicing tomorrow at 11. That's good. They can get to work, a couple of full days of practice, hopefully, and then I'm assuming by Tuesday when Nashville rolls into town, they will probably go optional, and then we'll see how they do against the Preds. So. What, Reed? Do you go systems work? Do you go small zone play? Like, what do you think Knobloch does? Does he want to like skate these guys hard? There's ways. There's no more bag skates. We haven't seen anybody really bring up bag skate, but there's no more bag skating in hockey. They trick these guys into doing drills. Right. That involve a lot of skating. It's the alternative to the bag skate. What do you think the focus will be from Chris Knobloch and the coaching staff tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, Tom. I mean, I think Knobloch talks a lot about execution, crispness, playing connected. So I think they'll want to improve just getting the puck up the ice. I mean, that one goal didn't Nurse botch a couple passes.
Yes.
I mean, the third goal, Bouchard throws it to the wrong team and they come back and score. So probably just getting a better feel for plays like that. But again, here's the big issue. Like, you cannot coach more offense into the players on the third and fourth lines. Like they are who they are, and I asked Knobloch about that today, and he said there's things that he said, well, we got to get the puck to the net more, but he also said that's easy to say, like, those guys they're defending a lot.
Yep.
So that's what I mean with they don't tilt the ice. Like, it'd be one thing if they didn't score, but it's like, my God, like every shift they're in the other team's end and they're wearing down defense pairings for McDavid and Draisaitl come out on the ice. So, I mean, they just got to get a little sharper with the execution. They're capable of playing better. They will play better. I mean, they're not going to fall behind 2 or 3-0 every game like they did these last 2 games.
Yep. Rick, I'm going to read one last text as we close out Reed's Read, brought to you by Ewell. It's from Ryan out in Sass. Says, Frederick is the a-hole uncle that's married to your favorite auntie. Drives you crazy, but he's here to stay. Do you like that descriptor?
That's funny. Yeah. I don't think he's calling Frederick actually an a-hole. Just
it's
sort of the
you can't get rid of him.
The guest at the table. It's too bad for him. I mean, it's like, this is like 7.5 more years, and he knows what it's like in the city. Like, I don't think Trent Frederick is going home thinking like, oh, I'm playing great. Like, I'm just not appreciated. Like, fans don't realize the subtle things that I do. I mean, he doesn't.
He's not doing anything.
He doesn't do much. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say, but that's tough. I mean, Frederick and Mangiapane were hoped for probably say 30 goals combined.
Yes.
Yep.
So that would have replaced, I think, Arvidsson and Skinner combined for, was it 31 or 33?
16 and 17, was it?
And they weren't considered overly effective.
And it came on late for those 2 last year.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I just wanted to make you chuckle.
Well, you did.
Good. I'm happy. You did great. You're always the best, Reed, and I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, my friend. I'll see you on Monday.
Well, I certainly will enjoy it, Tom. Thank you for having me. Ben, take care.
There you go. There's Reed's Read with Reid Wilkins. He's the best. Reed's Read, brought to you by Ewell, your Edmonton-based partner in power and source for all things electrical. You can order online anytime, ewell.ca. All right, Benny, let's go to the player of the game, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, top producing, consistent realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 18 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com. Visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Benny, what do you got for us?
I mean, flat honestly, yeah, this is a tough one to give out.
You know, you can pick guys from the other team. There's 2 teams playing each game.
But even then, I honestly did not like Philadelphia's game either. I thought they gave the puck way too much. I thought there was guys. My friends and I were watching this game, and we kept joking. Oh, there's Canadian defenseman Travis Sanheim. Look at him go! And he
scored a laser of a goal.
He did, but he had 2 horrible turnovers on the 2 Oilers goals, which was like, there's their Olympic defenseman. So no, I'm gonna stick Oilers here, and I'll pull this one out of my you know what. Zach Hyman, I think has been a consistent effort guy. Like when you talk about guys that don't have the swagger get to their head, he's one of the guys to me that just puts up the same effort every night. And his looks that he's gonna get are gonna come from the people around him. He's not a guy that generates his own scoring chances. He's more of a guy that feeds off the other guys, but he gets the puck to those guys to be able to do that. So, I think he had another solid performance again tonight. But again, I mean, McDavid's by far their best player on a ridiculous run. Didn't feel like he had a whole lot of support. Pretty much that whole line was the only line going tonight for them. So, I'll go Zach Hyman. This is probably the least, happy I've been to give a player of the game award. I genuinely just there's
That's
not
fine.
a whole lot to give on the other side here.
That's all right. That is the Damon Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game. Damon Bunting now with the agency, and Zach Hyman is your player of the game from Benny Thomson. All right, I think I can hear her. Dinner's ready. Mom's calling. Dinner's ready. Everybody's ready to go for a bite to eat. It is 5:30. Wow, we're done pretty early in the day. But it's been a busy day, and we appreciate everybody that tuned in, whether it was on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, of course, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player. For those who watched on YouTube, thank you guys so much. You're the best. Enjoy the rest of your holiday season. We're back live 6 a.m. on Monday here on EST. Dusty and Lieutenant Eric as we kick off our first full week of 2026. The Oilers drop a disappointing 5-2 decision to the Philadelphia Flyers. They've lost 2 straight and will look to get back into the win column Tuesday night against the Nashville Predators, who, by the way, just got scored on. The goal's being challenged right now by the Predators. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. For Matt Kassian, for Reid Wilkins, for Ben Thomson, I'm Tom Gazzola saying have a wonderful night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and your holidays. See you on Monday.